All right, guys, moving on to our next little bit of movie news you may have heard. There's a little TV show coming out with Kate McKinnon executive producing based on the popular Netflix documentary Tiger King. That's right. Joe Exotic is a new TV show coming to NBC Universal, NBC, Peacock, and the USA platforms. This is kind of a big news deal, as it's very abnormal for any kind of a television show to get a big wide multi-deal with. I mean, it's pretty much all in-house, USA, Peacock, NBC Universal, but to have a company like this go all in on one particular show, I mean, that's big potatoes. Put on top of that, it's a crazy premise. Like, this whole thing is absolutely insane. If anyone has seen the show Tiger King, you will know that it is the weirdest documentary. They're full of the weirdest characters in the strangest premise, but it's true. All of it is true. It actually happened. And now Kate McKinnon and her production company, they've decided, hey, let's take this ridiculous premise, let's take these ridiculous characters and bring them to life in a kind of scripted dramedy. Of course, as well, Nicolas Cage is attached to play one of the parts. It is not Joe Exotic himself. Natalie, have you heard of this? What is your knee-jerk reaction?
My knee-jerk reaction is like, oh God, do we really need more Tiger King? Like, do we? I did hear that Kate McKinnon was originally attached. I think originally, like a few months ago when Tiger King came out, wasn't she supposed to play like Carol Baskins, or that B Carol
I think there was
Baskins?
talk about it. I don't think there was anything
Yeah,
serious
yeah.
about it until this production news actually. I don't know if it was the fans that kind of brought it into the forefront of everyone's minds, or if it was really genuinely her just saying like, hey, this is a crazy idea that we could actually make work.
Yeah, my one thing is I can see how it could be like a behind the music slash
Oh,
that's so old,
oh,
that's such an old reference. It's more
so
like a
good
behind
though.
the scenes, like this is what happened outside of the documentary, but really I don't know. The documentary is terrible, but also hilariously terrible, and I don't know how you can really top it with a dramedy. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this and I keep going back to the same well, which is I don't think this is a great idea. Look at a lot of the stuff that Will Ferrell has been pumping out for the past few years. It's been okay. It's been fine. I don't have any real problems with it, but it's also not Anchorman. It's also not like Night at the Roxbury. It's not like cutting edge comedy. It's nothing that, uh, what you're getting. Adam Sandler comedies, okay, you know what you're getting. That's fine. Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, whoa! And for me, I feel like that's where I want to see Kate McKinnon go. Steve Carell got out. I don't want to say he got out of the comedy game, definitely not, but he definitely let his wings breathe a little bit, and he was able to find a new footing that wasn't just comedy. And I feel like Kate McKinnon has more in her than just weird, ridiculous comedy. And not just that, but specifically when it comes to Tiger King, I saw the documentary. I was floored by the documentary. I'm done with the documentary. I don't need any more Tiger King in my life. And I don't know if anybody, I feel like a lot of people feel that same way. Natalie?
Yeah, I get this. So I think that I recently listened to a podcast with Seth Rogen. I think he was doing an interview for his new film. It was on Netflix, right? Called The Pickle, or it's called In a Pickle.
Yeah,
It's a
something like that.
Yeah, it's something like a dramedy, but also there's historical context, but it seems to be very emotive and in the same way. And he kind of commented on the state of comedy in general, comedy movies, comedy series, that right now there just really hasn't been a huge market for that, laugh out loud, Wedding Crashers, Anchorman, that kind of thing that really dominated 10 years ago. And it's hard for me to really scratch my head and think. I mean, there have been some breakout successes that are in the comedy genre that have done really well.
Right.
But I feel like comedy itself, for comedy's sake, is just in a really weird place right now.
The world is in a really
Yeah.
weird place, and because of the
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
and and comedy is a reflection of the way that the world works and the way that the world operates, and it doesn't matter where you land on politics, it doesn't matter where you land on social issues, it doesn't matter where you land on just kind of life right now. We need comedy, but we don't know how to do comedy because somehow, some way, everything is at a heightened state. And Goofy was done. I feel like you can do Goofy in maybe like a safe atmosphere, but Goofy can only take you so far. We've had one version of Goofy in the 70s, like with Caddyshack or Stripes. We had another version of Goofy in the 80s with like Ghostbusters or I don't know, Ferris Bueller. The 90s had its own version of Goofy, and so on and so forth. Ace Ventura.
Goofy movie, right?
The Goofy,
The Goofy
the
movie.
Goofy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I mean, that encapsulates the whole genre right there.
Pretty much.
Thanks, Disney.
Yeah.
Yuck. But
Yeah.
I feel like there's everybody wants to be cool right now, which is killing comedy. And real. You want to be real, you want to be cool. And if you try to fit into either one of those categories, comedy can't work. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that it cannot by definition. If you're trying to push an agenda, like who's having fun on the dance floor? The idiot dancing away to I don't know, Midnight Dream, or the cool kid standing on the back wall with his hands in his pockets, and his tie is, loosened up a little bit. Like, nobody wants to dance with the cool kid. Everybody wants to dance with the dancing fool. Everybody wants to have that fun.
Except at my prom. That was me, and it just didn't happen. So, to kind of piggyback off of what you said, like, I 100% agree with you. I am not down for more Tiger King. At the end of the day, like, I love documentary film. Like, that's one of the many genres that I feel versed in. And I think that the point of the documentary really was, let's make an entertaining show that's basically like, binging and eating a whole pound full of Reese's chocolate candy. And like that's the kind of, yeah, I know, right? Ugh. But that's the kind of, meat to the story in terms of, substance. So I think that the documentary, while humorous and while it had, its heyday in bringing us all together to talk about something that was absolutely ridiculous, at the end of the day, it's a documentary about terrible people who have done terrible things to each other, that do terrible things to animals. And in the end, like, no one's a hero in the story. I don't necessarily think that.
No one wins.
No one wins. And it's going to be weird to pull a comedic punchline out of that situation.
I agree. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you have a differing opinion? Do you agree with us? Do you think that, the Tiger King television show with Kate McKinnon and Nicolas Cage could work? Do you think that there's something that we're drastically overlooking? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.